And we'll describe the houses after I go through all the signs, I think. But the houses are basically like the signs, except they're the realms of life as opposed to the traits and drives. So when you're looking at the signs, if anything is in a sign, that sign acts like a lens. It's like a colored lens, and they'll have a unique color, you could say. And anything that's in that sign gets colored and tinted by that sign. So if, for instance, the moon is in Aries, it's going to become a very aggressive moon and very individualistic. See, and Taurus is the second sign, okay, and that comes after Aries, and that represents below the head, the shoulders, the neck, the upper chest and upper back, the throat, and all that stuff, and ingestion of food. And it also represents the senses. So not just consciousness, but sensory information, taking the senses in from the outside world, all the different ones, taste, hearing, touch, sight, all that stuff. And Taurus is an earth sign, but it's not the cardinal earth sign. This is something that's very interesting. So it starts with Aries, which is a cardinal fire sign, but then it moves to Taurus, which is a fixed earth sign. There's never a repetition of an element, and there's never a repetition of a quality or a type twice in a row. So you can't have two cardinal signs right next to each other. And we can talk more about that later when we talk about aspects. See, this is already getting complicated. But basically, Taurus is the second sign. It represents the senses. It represents physical reality. It has to do with, it is the sign that is most oriented towards solid matter. And Taurus is correlated with the planet Venus, and it is correlated with the second house, okay? All the houses are just numbered. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10th house, 11th house. The houses are correlated in terms of their themes to a sign, but they rotate independently of the rest of the stuff in the sky. So you can have different houses and different signs, and that's part of what makes people unique individuals. And again, we'll get to that later. So Taurus is a sign that is about so Aries was about your individual survival needs, your basic sense of soul and consciousness and existence and all this other stuff and instinct. Taurus moves into the physical realm from that, represents your physical needs, your survival needs, but it also represents the things that you place material value on. And so Taurus is related to money, and not just money, but also aesthetic value and the things that you really enjoy and that bring you material pleasure, or that are comfortable to you, or that you just personally value. But it also has to do with your personal value system, which is not just a physical thing, but rather how you place value in a hierarchy of ideas and imperatives and morals and things like that. Literally, your values as a person is in Taurus. And so that ties.
Let me stop you there for real quick. I know in the Discord server, we were talking about like Taurus, or not about Taurus necessarily, but in your chart and my chart, that we kind of struggle making money. And that's kind of a stereotypical INTJ thing, that we make money very well. Does that have something to do with it in our charts?
Yes, it does. And so does the position of Venus in the chart, and so does Scorpio, and so do the second and eighth houses, which relate to Taurus and Scorpio respectively. And then it gets really complicated from there too, because you also have the house of career and Capricorn, which is a sign of careers, and then you have Virgo, which is work, and the sixth house. Yeah, the sixth house, which is the Virgo house, which has to do with the work that you perform. And so there's a lot that goes into that.
Okay. And do we have Taurus in a similar house, since we kind of had that in common, or?
Let me look. Our charts have the houses oriented almost exactly opposite of each other. Yep. Yours is similar in a lot of ways to Lanferia's, though, with the house positions at least. Your Taurus has the eighth house cusp in it, which is the Scorpionic house, which is the opposite themed house. But we can get to that when we talk about your chart and the houses and everything. So yes, Taurus relates to money. Anything that's on the cusp of, so wherever the line that you see in the birth chart that has a little number on it, that's the house that falls in that sign. Whatever house falls in the sign of Taurus is going to be the place where you exercise your need to build your financial value in life.
Okay.
It's going to be governed by your sense of material value. It's not necessarily selfish, but Taurus dark side can be very greedy. See?
Hmm. It's like you said, it's kind of stubborn too, and it's about morals and stuff. So it's kind of like bulls are kind of known as a stubborn animal, I guess. Is that like a
Yeah, and I guess you could say it's less about morals and just about values. And sometimes that doesn't really, there's like a Venn diagram between morals and values. And we'll talk about how Taurus relates to Sagittarius later, because Sagittarius very much is about moral laws and like the higher truth and everything. But Taurus is about your values. And it's like, this is kind of just covering everything that you think is important or that you like, which can be the same as morals, but isn't exactly the same. So,
okay?
you know, how you build that hierarchy of values in your mind, what you think is the most important versus what's under that versus what's at the bottom. So,
Okay.
okay, all right. And yeah, you can see this is a pretty heavy, expansive topic. Each one of these signs, by the way, could take up an entire book.